chapter 5 now. Chapter 5. This is chapter 10 on this book right here. So I sure do. Now I'm have to come finish this now. I have time. I got a few more pages left to go to hold up, rattlesnake. But I got time. What did I say? You asked me if I wanted to go to Florida with you. That's right. And how did it make you feel to know you wasn't alone anymore? That you wasn't the only one? It was great, Danny said. It was so great. Yay, Halloran said. Yay, course it was. They walked in silence for a bit. A, for a bit. Little birds, peeps, Danny's mother called them, ran in and out of the waves. Did it ever strike you funny how I show up when you needed me? He looked down at Danny and smiled. No, it didn't. Why? Would it? You what? Stop it. You was just a child, but you're a little older now. A lot. Older in some ways. Listen to me, Danny. The world has a way of keeping things in balance. I believe that there's a saying when the pupil is ready, a teacher will appear. I was your teacher. You were a lot more than that, Danny said. He took Dick's hand. You were my friend. You save us. This guy, I don't know why they call him Dick. I don't know why, but okay. Well, anyways, Dick ignored this, or seemed to. My grandma also had the shining. Do you remember me telling you that? Yeah, you said you and her could have long conversations without even opening your mouths. That's right, she taught me, and it was her great grandma that taught her way back in the slave days. Someday, Danny, it will be your turn to be the teacher. The pupil will come. What that means? Pupil. I don't know what that means. Okay, well, if Mrs. Massey doesn't get me first, Danny said morosely. Stopping that part. I'll finish chapter 10. One, two, three, four, 5 more pages. I don't like this part of the book. So Dick have a personal bad experience in the past as a little kid in bad childhood. I don't know. I should bring this up. Okay. He goes nothing. They came to a bench. Dick sat down. I don't dare go any further. I might not make it back. Sit beside me. I want to tell you a story. I don't want stories, Danny said. She'll come back. Don't you get it? She'll come back and come back and come back. Shut your mouth and open your ears. Take some instructions. Then Dick grinned, displaying his gleaming new dentures. I think you'll get the point. You're far from stupid, honey. Okay, now number 7. Chapter 11, okay. Dick's mother's mother, the one with the shining, lived in Clearwater. She was the white grandma, not because she was Caucasian, of course, but because she was good. His father's father lived in Dunbury, Mississippi. Dunbury, a rural community not far from Oxford. His wife had died long before Dick was born. For a man of color in that place and time, he was wealthy. He owned a funeral parlor. Dick and his parents visit 4 times a year, and young Dick Halloran hated those visits. He was terrified of Andy Halloran and called him only in his own mind. To speak it out loud would have earned him a smack across the chops. Oof, the black grandpa you know about kitty fiddlers. Dick asked Danny, guys who want children for, I don't want to say it, sex. I'm not sure read this part of this book. I have to like, on that part. Shut up, Danny said cautiously. Certainly, he knew not to talk to strangers. and never to get into a car with one because they might do stuff to you. Well, old Andy was more than a kitty fiddler. He was a damn sadist as well. What's that? Someone who enjoys giving pain. Danny nodded in immediate understanding, like Frankie Lestrom. At school, he gives kids Indian burns and Dutch rubs, and if he can't make you cry, he stops. If he can, he never stops. That's bad, but this was worse. Chapter 11. I don't know how long distance of recording this. If you guys get bored of this, forgive me. Got 1, 2, 3, 4 pages left. If I can make it to 4 pages. Alright. Dick lapsed into what would have looked like silence to a passerby, but the story went forward in a series of pictures and connecting phrases. Danny saw the black grandpa, a tall man in a suit as a black he was, who wore a special kind of fedora hat, I don't know, hat on his head. He saw how there were always little buds of spittle at the corners of his mouth, and how his eyes were red rimmed like he was tired or had just gotten over crying. He saw how he would take Dick, younger than Danny was now, probably the same age he'd been that winter at the Overlook, on his lap. If they weren't alone, he might only tickle. If they were, he'll put his hand between Dick's legs and squeeze his balls. Until Dick thought he'd have fainted with the pain. I feel sorry for this man's name. His name is really bad in this book, Well, okay. Do you like that, Grandpa? Andy would pant in his ear. He smelled of cigarettes and white horse scots. Cause you do every boy likes that. But even if you don't, you doesn't tell. If you do, I'll hurt you. I'll burn you. This is the dark part of this book, man. Holy, this is Shikes, holy, S-H-I-T, holy, Danny said, that's gross. There were other things too, Dick said, but I'll just tell you. One, Grampy hired a woman to help out around the house after his wife died. She clean and cook at dinner time. She slacked out everything on the table at once, from salad to dessert, because that's the way old black grandpa liked it. Dessert was always cake or pudding. It was put down on a little plate or in a little dish next to your dinner plate, so you could look at it and want it while you blow through the other muck. Grandpa's hard and fast rule was, you could look at dessert, but you couldn't eat dessert unless you finished every bite, or fried meat and boiled greens and mashed potatoes. You even had to clean up the gravy, which was lumpy and didn't have much taste if it wasn't all gone. Black Grandpa hand me a hunk of bread and say, superior up with that Dicky bird. Make that plate shine like the dog licked it. That's what he called me, Dicky bird. This is the dark part of Dick, the guy that was always helping Danny in this book as a little child. Dark childhood. I don't know if I should read this book. This part of the book, chapter 12. Sometimes I couldn't finish no matter what, and then I didn't get the cake or the pudding. He'll take it and eat it himself. And sometimes when I could finish all my dinner, I find he'll smash a cigarette butt into my piece of cake or my vanilla pudding. He could do that because he always sat next to me. He'd make like it was a big joke. whoops, missed the ashtray, he'll say, my ma and pa never put a stop to it. Or through they must have known that even if it was a joke, it wasn't a fair one to play on a child. They just made out like it was a joke too. Yeah. Yeah. 3 more pages long. We still got time to finish this. That's really bad, Danny said. Your folks should have stood up for you. My mom does. My daddy would too. They were scared of him, and they were right to be scared. Andy Hurleran was a bad motorcycle. He'd say, go on, Dickie, eat around it. That won't poison you. If I took a bite, he'll have Nunny. That was his housekeeper's name. And Nani, I think I said, bring me a fresh dessert. If I wouldn't, it just sat there. It got so I could never finish my meal because my stomach would get all upset. You should have moved your cake or pudding to the other side of your plate, Danny said. I tried that, sir. I wasn't born foolish. He had just moved it back, saying, dessert went on the right. Dick paused, looking out at the water, where a long white boat was trundling slowly across the dividing line between the sky and the Gulf of Mexico. Sometimes, when he got me alone, he bit me, and once when I said I'll tell my pa if he didn't leave me alone, he put a cigarette out on my bare foot. He said, tell him that too and see what good it does you. Your daddy knows my ways already, and he'll never say a word because he yella and because he wants the money I got in the bank when I die, which I ain't fixing to do soon. Ooh, this man's hard-headed. Okay, I'm gonna have to finish this part of this book. The dark side of Dick, I guess, is childhood memory, sad. Danny listened in wide-eyed fascination. He had always thought the story of Bluebird was the scariest of all time, the scariest there ever could be. But this one was worse because it was true. Sometimes he said that he knew a bad man named Charlie Max, and if I didn't do what he wanted, he'll call Charlie Max on the long distance. He'd come in his fancy car and take me away to a place for bad children. Then Grandpa would put his hand between my legs and commence squeezing. So you ain't gonna, ooh, damn, say a thing, Dickie Bird. If you do, old Charlie will come and keep you with the other children he done stole until you die. Hold on, I'm not done yet. And when you do, you'll go to hell, and your body will burn forever, because you, Pete, it don't matter if anybody believes you or not. Preaching is preaching. Okay, stop right there. Now I'm on chapter 14 to 15. I gotta finish all the way up to 19 to 20 to Rattlesnake. That's 3 pages long. And I'm done.